instead. I don't know about that one. I don't see it as a Victor will remain open. So they must have a play. It's going to be like a Kali or something. Like they must have a, because you know this is coming. This is a complete no-brainer. Victor, maybe that's what Faker needs in this series. Thus far has been underperforming together with many members on his team.
Showmaker always looks like he's crafting up something, but right now especially.
He's scheming.
He is scheming. Jax mid? No, it's not Jax mid. Might be Jax, though. Poppy, I definitely do like.
You can just slam Poppy here and really put it wherever. As that is Silas for Showmaker. Paired with an aggressive jungler for Lucid would make a ton of sense. DK have really enjoyed picking early AD carries, so maybe we'll see like, I was gonna say like an early Ashe lock-in or something, but instead, this can go still to Barrel, can even go to Shiu, but right now it's just looking like Showmaker and Lucid say, let's brawl. Let's punch some people in the face.
They're always having a good time, those DK players. Big smiles on their faces during this one. You were asking for the owner Lilia. And it's gonna happen now.
Don't love it here. So that's nice at least. That's something.
Renekton. He got some buffs.
Yeah, we talked about those.
Yeah.
What is he playing? If you're, I don't know why we're banning Mbessa when you're picking Renekton though. That feels like a wasted ban to me.
I just don't even think that Mbessa is that.
I think Shiu's Mbessa is insane. I think he's one of the best Mbessas we have. I don't think if you're going to pick Renekton, maybe they didn't want to be forced into the Renekton. It's going to be Shiu's Aatrox instead. Pick that he has looked good on, and this top side for DK right now already looking kind of crazy. Really, really strong, and again, very heavy on the brawl. And the reason why I'm not super excited about that Lilia is because Victor Lilia as a 2v2 the first couple of levels, even up until like you actually start involving other teammates, that is just not very convincing. Merc value for both Lucid and Showmaker is going to be off the charts. As is it like aiming Zeri? We're banning Kate.
Yeah,
I could see it.
I mean, Kai'Sa's still available. Don't forget about her. So if
that would, yeah.
If aiming gets Kai'Sa here in Game 3, I think that T1 made a mistake somewhere. Like, he is the Kai'Sa guy. I don't think you should give him Kai'Sa.
I agree.
Senna. I mean, it is Guma Keria, so fair enough. And Jin was played, Varus was also played, as was MF, so in terms of long-range stuff that could punish a Kai'Sa.
There it is, there's the ban. I do like owner on a carry, so I will hold off judgment as, obviously we're going to pick an AD carry here, and then we're going to not reveal. Well, I think the problem with Zeri is it does mean that you have actually no range at all whatsoever, even a little bit.
Into Renekton and Lilia.
Yeah, I think Ashe makes a lot more sense. I think Ashe has a ton of different modes. As you get fed, you can really do a lot of carrying with your damage, but you always provide great utility. And again, DK, as we would expect from them, we don't know where the puppy's going. Can be Lucid, but they can like slam an Ivern last second here as well. What is the bot lane for T1 going to be?
Lucian. We've seen Lucian Braum already. Will it just be Lucian Braum from T1's bottom lane?
Braum blind. That.
I mean, at least you're still playing into a decent amount of low range, you know?
It's yeah, I'm talking about a lane matchup. I think Braum always gets value into these picks. It might also, again, be the Poppy for Barrel. We're not quite sure what the actual lock-in is going to be here.
Well, with Bengi behind Lucid with the book out, I think it's going to be support Poppy. Let's see. What do we got? Final pick here.
Like Pantheon's still open, but so I'm not surprised by this. I do think playing the Pantheon into the Braum is going to feel quite rough. I like it into Lilia though, having a guaranteed way to set up. And yeah, one of my favorite moments of the open mics is Lucid being like, I don't know.
Final pick Pantheon for Lucid. So we'll see. I mean, if DK fall behind, I'm not really sure what they're gonna do because
Nothing,
I think they just lose. Okay, well, we're ready. Let's hop on the roof for game number 3.
시간사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Here we go, game number 3.
30초 남았습니다.
All right, they're opting into a level 1 against Braum. But it's just 5-point start here for T1, so DK are able to bully him a little bit.
Oh. We are seeing the wards that are being placed, but nothing too crazy thus far. We have Shio going for Grasp, Aatrox. So it does lean into that rune setup again here. Showmaker just playing the standard page, Faker going for Grasp as well, playing ranged into melee. And then Guma, oh, that is a PTA. That is really going all in, most likely on just actually weaving it out of the fights. And it's not an easy game to play for Lucian. The cleanse very necessary because you are playing it to Poppy and then free champions with hard CC.
Yeah. But if he avoids it, they're all very low range.
Very true.
You know, if they're winning a fight and Guma's on the chase, I feel like this Lucian gets huge value. But if he is behind and he's getting targeted and, you know, everybody's throwing their hard CC into him, then he doesn't really do anything.
I really thought that with that Victor, that T1 was kind of leaning towards we have an insurance policy in bot lane as well. And then instead they also all in. So like both DK and T1 are like, if we don't fall behind early, our comp is amazing. No downsides.
Yeah.
Great engage. I think the engage for T1 is actually a little bit lackluster, but their poke is a lot better, right? With the Victor and the Lucian and they have a lot of upfront burst. DK obviously have so much CC and so many people that they can just kind of throw into the middle of the enemy team. But really either of these two, like think about trying to play a Renekton or a Lucian when you're behind. Like how that feels.
I mean, we've seen it many times before.
Yeah.
Especially as teams were struggling to adapt and they were still picking Lucian in spots where he wasn't good, but they were just saying, well, this is what we know how to play. I think this was like end of last year, or just last year as a whole. We used to see like a bit of Lucian here and there, and it was like, ooh, it doesn't feel good. And it oftentimes just fell behind and lost. And it never looks good when it's in that spot. This draft here from DK kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you remember that final that DK was up against T1, and they drafted Cassid and Renekton. It was like game 3, and then they just threw this really weird comp.
They blinded Cassidin. I remember that, because we were all like, you can't do that, and they lost.
But they stomped the first 2 games, so we were like, well, maybe you can do that. And then they got stomped. And then they won game 4, rather.
Okay, so do you feel about either team's draft like that?
Yeah, it feels like DK drafted a similar comp. Like, no range.
This is way better.
If we lose early, we just lose the game.
Yeah, okay, but this is, I feel like in this scenario, this one makes a lot more sense to me than that one did. Blind Cassid is not.
That one did not make any sense, so I'm glad that this one makes a little bit more sense than that. As long as you're above 0, you know, it's not very hard to do that. Because that one made 0 sense.
So this one, this is also a cohesive comp.
Yeah.
Like, it's all in, but so is T1's. T1 have a little bit more ways back into the game because you can actually do a really good job punishing overextensions from DK with the Victor, the Sleep, and the Braum. But yeah, early game is going to be king here. So early objective is going to be huge, as well as these fights. Showmaker, not quite having the necessary mana to pick up here, or money rather, to pick up his Catalyst. Faker, I'm still very surprised they didn't ban this. Here
the Victor.
Yeah, here in this, I mean, it's such a no-brainer.
To be fair, Xinjiao is just so strong. And it's owner Xinjiao, right? Instead, you get owner on Lilio. Yeah, it's good.
Just let Kalista through.
All right, no stun comes through.
Ooh. Like, just let Kalista through, pick Ashe Poppy.
Yeah, I agree.
Playable.
Yeah. But after banning Kalista and Vi, it's like, well, do we ban Victor?
Then this is out.
Yeah. It's kind of like they got themselves into that spot. But yeah, I do agree. I'm not sure that the Kalista ban priority needs to be that high, but a lot of our teams are still buying into that. So it is the way it is.
Buying into the myth of Kalista.
I mean, when it gets ahead, when it gets any kind of lead, you just take over games. And I'm sure there's a lot of scrims where it's like, well, they got Kalista and we just lost early, so we just lose the game. And
Like, yeah.
maybe it just feels a little bit too, once it gets ahead, like there's just such a high chance that you lose the game that they just don't want to deal with that. That they'd rather deal with something that's a little bit easier to come back against.
We are naturally risk averse, so that makes sense.
Indeed. I do like also that T1 are taking inspiration from Bro's drafting with the Lucian Braum here in Game 3.
When is the world's bro skin for Braum coming? You know, it's just Bro.
Broum? B-R-O-U-M.
Yes.
Broum. Stand behind Broum.
You can see it, right?
And they try to do the dragon, but they're definitely sniffed out here.
It's really mean, because T1 pretended they were handshaking by starting a grubby, and then Lucid's like, okay, then I can start. And then, guess what? They lied.
They lied. And the dragon goes to T1. Right? Or no, that was the Scuttle Crab. I thought he actually was doing the dragon that whole time. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, Dragon early is actually still a big threat. Showmaker caught into yet another back. Does have his Catalyst now. Darksteel picks up as well. But it's looking good for T1 early. They're finding these laning leads. The one item spike across the board for really any of these champions is kind of crazy. For Faker, I'd argue it's the least impressive, because Victor really does need more time before he actually becomes a big menace.
Faker understanding the value of just straight up ruby crystals. 2 of them early.
Just health.
He says, I just need to not die. And eventually, I will be the biggest threat on the Rift. But for now, let's just farm it out, Chovy it up, and sit back and not die. Meanwhile, Carrio's ganking Showmaker. I don't think this is an actual gank, but he is pushing him out. Just bring Faker into more action after buying 2 ruby crystals.
It's more of a figurative gank.
Yeah, it's not
just,
literal.
It's the concept of the gank, Velvet.
Yeah, I take everything very literally, as you might have found out after Game 1. The concept of a gank. I mean, Faker's up 23 CS, and that helps zone away Showmaker. Like, the wave was in a great spot for Faker after Showmaker backed. So, yes, Silas gets behind ranged champions that can poke him out a bit, but it's still a pretty hefty lead here for Faker here in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Also the bot lane.
This was a counter pick that was attempted, didn't quite end up working out, and Tier 1 looking very sharp here thus far in the early laning phase. DK, the laning phases for them have been rather muted.
Well, they're not going to commit to it. Arrow also just going to hit Carria, who says lol.
I actually think that's really fair, because Guma wasted his ult, so then aiming has to as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Onto Braum.
Well, they got the cleanse from aiming, so winning.
Yeah, no, it's a trade-up, but, you know, I don't know about that calling amidst the minion wave. It's not the end of the world. We'll be up soon.
Yeah, it's just a good angle for engage Braum, which we know that Carria loves, so he goes in, engages, and Guma just has to follow up on it.
Thus far, T1 is passing the test of, are you winning early? Very good. If you're a T1 fan.
It's not a gigantic lead, but it's definitely something to recognize.
This is a real LCK.
It deserves recognition. This lead.
Yes.
But it's not one where you say, "Whoa, that's crazy." It's just like, "Oh yeah, it exists."
All right, fellas.
I acknowledge its existence.
Fellas, we have plenty of time. No drink has been taken. We're 10 minutes in. Fellas, give me your scale of recognition.
The scale of recognition?
Okay, yeah, so when it comes to leads, right? So the lowest level lead is It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's basically an even game.
Basically, okay, basically even.
That's still a lead, though, where we'll be like, okay, one team is ahead, but it's basically even. That's like the lowest level.
Okay, what's next?
The next, I think, is what we mentioned already, where it's like, we acknowledge it exists, but it's not gigantic.
It's a nice lead.
It's like, okay, T1 are in the lead.
Does it actually mean something yet? A little bit.
I feel like it's getting larger as we're talking.
It is
like
growing.
every lane is winning.
Yeah.
Like mid's winning. Faker got ahead there. Bot's winning pretty sizably.
They are looking to set up for Dragon as well.
The Aatrox also picked into Renekton. Also losing.
Yeah.
Just like the Sylas. So
clearly DK did not pick this for lane and was thinking that it was going to be a better time in the skirmishes. We haven't had any skirmishes yet. I don't know if we're getting any because Dragon is just going to be given up.
I'm not sure what led them to believe that there would be action in this game. You know?
Well, you have to create your own destiny, Veldas. You have to be the one that creates the action.
That's true.
Which they're not doing.
You have to earn recognition, you know?
Well, last time the game was close and then DK won a 5-0. I don't feel like that's happening this time around, though. Drake is taken. Steadily T1 just building upon these leads. I know Lucid's in the area, but he really wants the base. Sitting on his first item. There we go. Sunlit Sky done.
Played here for Faker. Just getting farther and farther ahead. He has the largest lead right now. It's becoming more than just recognizable.
We have a recognizable lead.
Yeah.
What's next? Do we just go to big lead straight?
No, I think it's just like a solid lead. You know?
Solid.
They're solidly in the lead.
Yeah.
This is where we get to the layer where it's like, okay, if you're Genji and Hamalife Esports up against any kind of like middling or low team, it's just over.
Yeah.
This is like the Wolf level of lead. As we got an arrow just gonna flash it, and now the Braum is in so much trouble as he's stunned 100-0. I mean, there was nothing he could do. Faker had to flash it though after being on target. So a nice arrow, a nice gank here from DK as they maneuver up and they create their own destiny.
They do. Oh, Guma. He doesn't know. Guma. Oh, he's fine. Okay. I already thought Barrel was gonna flash over and slam into the wall, but
I don't know. They didn't see him either.
Yeah.
Jonah Strong fooling us once again.
So now T1 has been demoted from a close to solid lead to just a recognizable lead.
Yeah. They were getting close to tier 3, but now they're like back at tier 2.
All right.
Especially because, you know, Grubs went over to DK again.
They're giving up a good amount of mid resources as well. DK is, so lead now slowly getting bigger again. So we have solid lead, which for Genji and Humble Life is all they need.
That's, you can nickname that the Wolf lead because that's where this season he's kind of coined like, well, at 12 minutes, if they have that lead, the game's over.
All right.
And that doesn't normally happen a lot, I feel like, in the LCK, but in this meta specifically, it just feels like once those teams specifically get that lead, it's just like the game is over, even at 12 minutes.
All right. Contextualize that.
And then the next one is like just a big lead, right? They've got a big lead. That's where the majority of your teams will win. Like, I'd say probably top 7, maybe not top 8.
And then we get to
like unlosable.
Massive lead. Then we get to unlosable.
Yeah.
And at what point do you truly trust if you're a DK or KT player? What lead? Where on the scale do we...
Oh, the arrow's insane! Aiming Zash! I should not have called for the Zeri when he can play Ashe like this. And he is the one setting up all these plays. 2 assists now for the man. He has made most of the kills happen. He's got a big smile on his face too. It's not really the aiming feel, you know, where he's farming and he's getting a bunch of gold. He's the gold king. No, he's just the Ashe arrow demon.
Back-to-back plays off the back of Aiming's aiming.
And you know what? Now we've demoted again. We're on tier 1. It's basically even.
That's my favorite state of the game. Basically even? That's the dream.
Yeah, like T1 are still in the lead, but it's basically even. Let's see it. Pings it, sends it out.
No notes. I love that Lucid also ults here, because we have to actually have Carrier roaming up as well, and Showmaker does obviously use a lot of burst.
That was sick, right? That's what he said.
Ice cold. It was. basically even.
Or as Ji-sun would say, that was pretty bussin', right? If I try to translate like Ji-sun.
Yeah. I don't think anyone can. I think she stands alone. Oh,
It's just you never expected.
Owner.
Very fast, but you can't get away from that amount of CC. Knocked into the wall, but Harriet comes on over, helping him out of it. He's holding the door, and now they've gone very deep for this one. We got the Dominus, the buff level 11 one, taking away the damage. And there goes Shiwu, who just got baited into this one by his team. And now Beryl, well, he's dead. The only question is who's going to get the kill. As he's very fast, but Lilia's faster. And eventually, yeah, the bowling ball hits him in the face. That's a nice kill for Owner. Another arrow. No way. No, 3 for 3. And this time, doesn't look like Showmaker's going to be able to kill him as he's full health with a Roa and another Ruby Crystal. But still, he hit it.
As that play from Beryl and Lucid starting to give any DK fans some troubling flashbacks to what happened in the Gen G series. Not enough to bring T1 to a big lead, but back to a solid lead. Those were some heavy resources invested. As we take a look here, Owner actually doesn't get knocked into the wall until after he already gets his CC off, right? So it delays for so long, and then when Shiu shows up, they're not ready for Guma to also be there. That's 2 kills being given over effectively for free, which means that T1 now going to be feeling better again. But as long as neither team builds up a substantial lead, I think these fights are going to keep looking this messy, as we have a lot of good souls still on the table. This Dragon, I do think, with how the positioning from T1 is going to go over, because it looks like Aiming is setting up a bait. Showmaker is in the area with Flash. Is Guma going to fall for it?
I mean, Aiming might die anyway. Showmaker comes in, he's like, oh, well, I can't do much now. It's Infernal Soul.
Oh, yes, please. Either of these teams with Infernal Soul? Turret is just gonna go though. Like DK are now sending Showmaker over. That turret is gone.
Yeah, we don't have any feats of warfare yet, so these turrets, that's the first turret going over to T1. They're getting one step closer, and they get the objective as well, so they will be able to pick up the feats. As the arrow's so close again, still gonna go for it here is Beryl, but that is a Victor. And Beryl gonna get stunned up here anyway. They don't quite have the damage with only Victor.
Yeah, they were looking for a play with Lucid there. He was actually sitting in the brush waiting to ult down to bot lane. If the arrow hits or if Beryl gets the stun into the wall, neither of those things happen. And this is a very beefy Victor, beefed up with Grasp and Roa. T1 starting to further build upon that lead, as I think Beryl wanted to go for some classic Beryl shenanigans, instead just gets found out. And another attempt at trying to punish Shiu here.
Yeah, I mean, Beryl's hanging by his rookie once again. Just feels like, as well, like Shiu up against Faker in the 1v1, that's never going to be a fun time. So I'm not sure about this lane assignment.
Yeah, particularly with this setup, once he gets... Like, maybe it gets better once he gets clear. The problem is that Aatrox is just not that good into people that stack all the health, right? Because his damage doesn't quite work that way until he can get a lot of trades off, but into Faker, there's so much sustain that is going to come through for the Victor that doesn't quite work out in T1. If this mid lane turret falls, and the Herald will ensure that it will, DK is rapidly losing control of the map.
Yep, Perry gonna put this one into the turrets, and he's gonna go for a little drive, looking for that bottom turret, which is pretty low. I think he's got it with this driving so far.
That's one.
All right, he's able to make the turn. There you go. Big hit in the bottom lane as well, and now Shiu half health. He's got to back away. Arrow gonna miss Doran here, so Aiming very good at hitting the long range ones, but the short range right in front of you ones, not as good.
It's a different skill set, though. That's
yeah. And yeah, I mean, DK, they're suffering at a substantial deficit at this
TP!
point. Oh, TP. They got to make something happen is what I was about to say. They got to make plays, otherwise they just lose. And they will be able to find Faker here with a Pantheon ultimate and a TP. And there you go. So you're going to pick up the kill.
Oh, that's a heavy investment. You see T1 is learning from their mistakes last game, just saying, okay, Faker, you're dead. We're just going to leave you be. It's okay. We're not going to overinvest. If that was on the side of Otacon, that might be the turn that DK was looking for. Instead, it's just a nice kill. It puts Shiu in a bit of a better position, but not going to be enough to really change this game that is still heavily leaning towards T1.
I love how in the midst of the action, we're just seeing if Shiu can hit all the CS. Jonah Strong, pleased enough with that one. Turret eventually goes down, and T1 will increase their lead. We'll see where it goes from there. Next objective to fight over will be the Infernal Drake.
Ooh, second item done for Owner, Faker, and Guma. Doran should be close, looking like he's going to go for Kampak Chainsword, which is really good into what DK have. So, no-brainer there. I don't think Shiu's close. Showmaker maybe, but if you don't have that second item, might have to forfeit the fight for this third dragon. Very, very late in the game, by the way. And if either team just stays even and we go delayed, it becomes interesting. Victor seems like he should reign supreme. Obviously, Doran with the buffs, as we've been told many times by all, is going to be,
you know,
a monster.
Ox, he texted me at the beginning of the game. He's like, Showmaker's a knower. He picked Silas so that he can steal Renekton's buff ult. That's the angle.
Yeah, well, Doran is also going for a build where he doesn't get insta-popped as Renekton, so maybe he will get value out of that. But
Doran at least better at building the champ than Zeus is.
You know, Zeus has, I saw like 5 Renekton games and he went that build every single time. So clearly that's what...
Including the Hex Drinker and the Warden's Mail?
No, just the
okay.
Specifically Edge of Night and Surreal does. I saw a couple of humans.
Imagine what he could do with a real build.
He just likes his lethality builds. That's who he is. This was a counter pick, by the way, in top for Shiu.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. Talk shot. Does have 2 available. Does he want to use it on the dragon? Or as I think they can just say, hey, it's gone. Let's leave it be. It looks like that's the call. 2 items are just not done.
Yeah. Just didn't feel like they could fight at this point in time, so.
They're just slowly, gracefully losing. Is DK and T1 says, that's great.
That's not a winning strat.
No.
You got to plan to win. We talked, Ox and I talked about this a lot yesterday. You got to have a plan to win. Edgar talked about it too. He's like, we plan to win.
Okay.
DK right now, it doesn't seem like they have a plan to do anything.
Well, I'm sure they do. It's at some point, Lucid will ult in, Showmaker will TP, and then we pray Shiu gets resets.
They just do it every time Showmaker's TP comes off cooldown. They're like, all right, we're ready.
I'm not joking. That is the plan.
Well, that's not a good one. Well, I don't like that plan.
They need different angles because you're playing into Braum Victor. So you do really want to try and find multiple avenues of attack so that you have Shiu on one end, Showmaker on the other.
You told me this was better than the casting draft. I'm not seeing the angles.
Well, I thought the laning matchups were going to go better because they counterpicked. And they clearly did not.
Literally they did, but figuratively, I think maybe they had a different message for us.
Maybe the real draft lesson is...
What did they mean by this?
I don't know. I've given up a long time ago.
I mean, it's not gigantic leads, but as we talked about in the draft, if you get behind with this comp, it's very hard to control the skirmishes. You don't have vision control. You don't have map control.
It's definitely...
You're playing into a lot of disengage.
Yeah, worse for DK as well.
Yeah.
We'll see. They're still looking. And the team fights from DK have been something that they've been able to rely on. We even saw it in the previous game. That was Beryl given an opportunity as well, though, by T1. And they seem very hesitant. And you know what neither team should do right now?
Otacon. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. It's voracious as well. In this low game.
In this economy.
Of 5 kills in 25 minutes.
It's not worth it.
What's going to happen is, even if you get it, you know, DK might just give it up. I think Shu's just dead here. I don't know. Guma has a ton of damage, but he's very fast. He's going to dodge the QC. Actually, he's not dead. But Yeah,
Back to the wave.
What would happen is you do the Otacon, and even if you do get it, I mean, I guess now with the Baron available, you can try to use it. So not a bad timing, I suppose. But it's still an objective that you're probably just going to get baited into and die on instead. So got to be very careful.
2 items done for the entirety of Summoner's Rift, with exception of Beryl. How many control wards have you brought? You don't have an item yet.
Yeah, this is never an item. It's 25 minutes into the game.
I have not been keeping track. But
Where's the item?
Oh, that's the flash. That's big. No flash on Faker.
Yeah, and they didn't even have to use a flash to get it. Just kind of
Walked up.
walks into them.
He was walking there.
Yeah. I'm walking here.
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm glad you really made sure that everyone got the joke.
Yeah. Well, maybe Faker was just trying to make action happen. If I'm DK as well, I'd say maybe T1 just make a mistake eventually.
Well, if you just keep trading waves back and forth, I think the DK comp is harder to execute when we get to the later stage of the game, but they do have, again, a critical mass of, if Beryl slams someone into the wall and like Showmaker dives on, Lucid dives on, Shiu dives on, and Shiu then starts resetting, it's playable. If not too many people get caught,
It's like a very jank Viego comp.
yeah.
It's like a fearless feel. The surround.
It really is. Well, you need a third item for aiming, though. That's what they're looking towards right now. Aiming needs IE, because otherwise you just don't have the damage. And I think T1, on their end, are going to be really aggressively trying to look for fights before that is there. And you can feel this game balancing. Just one fight for DK wouldn't be enough, but Barrow might have to flash.
I mean, he just walks away. Doran, though, he is behind enemy lines. He wants to make the fight happen. And, I mean, they're trying to engage on a Renekton that is actually quite tanky. But now the stolen Renekton ultimate Showmaker are going to show us who the real Renekton is. And, yeah, I mean, Doran goes for the angle. It looks like a team call.
Yeah, it must have.
But it was way too aggressive.
What did they actually use, though? It's 2 ults for DK. And it's the ult from Guma and Doran, and T1's response is at... Oh, I think they made the read that DK would go for Dragon. DK, they're not seeing this coming at all.
He's just going to check the brush. Lucius is dead. And that's the jungler of DK off the map now. Yeah, now you can do Otacon. Now it's pretty safe.
They're going to do Nash.
Yeah, they can do Nash, actually. That's much better. And
yeah, you saw aiming was trying to play. She was going to look for a back and TP in. I don't know if they have the time. They need to try and stop this, though. And they do have a lot of AoE damage.
I mean, Showmaker might just send it in with the Renekton ultimate, or they're just going to give it away.
Oh,
they just give it up.
I think you have to send it there. You might lose the game off of it, but I don't think you can just give them Baron and Otacon.
Well, you can just lose the game off of not doing anything as well. And I do have news for you, though. Beryl did, in fact, pick up his first item a minute ago.
Yeah, he got that McKills. I saw that.
Yeah.
Would have been good if he had that when Lucy died.
Well, at least he had vision. He had control of the map with his control wards. And now T1, they have a very big lead.
Are they going to try and are they going to die Faker? He has stopwatch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but also just even the arm guard alone. Huh. Not the game 3 I was hoping for.
You don't like the 6 kills in 30 minutes?
6 kills in 29 minutes, Veldas.
Yeah, again, I mean, DK got behind, they lost their lanes, and then they were like, And T1 were like, well, we don't have to do anything. Like, there's no onus on us to do anything in this game. We have Victor, and we have Lucian Braum. Like, you're never attacking our carries, ever. It's just not going to happen. And now, greeting for the Gromp, we've seen this before. This time it's not going to backfire.
Nice sidestep by Beryl. DK just want to hold on to their inhibs at all costs, because if they completely lose control of the map, I don't think they're ever getting it back. So now their game plan, I think, just becomes stall indefinitely and hope that the item lead at some point isn't that relevant anymore. It's kind of what I'm
I mean, you need like another 15 minutes for that.
I know.
I don't know if that's going to happen in this game. T1 shouldn't let it happen. And now the engage brawl actually not bad. Coming on in, nice amount of poke damage onto all the DK members. They have to back off the turret, and Owner's looking for more. Still got a minute on the Otacon buff, by the way.
And Baron.
And Baron. They actually synced it up very nicely. And there's no reason for them to ever back away. And even if they get a withdrawal, like, who cares? It's 200 gold. Just TP back in. So they're taking bot lane. They're taking mid lane. And DK eventually, we've said this, eventually, at some point, they do have to fight. Otherwise, they will just lose. You don't want to pull a Jin Air. Like, this is actually the Jin Air strat, where you sit back and lose.
They kind of have been doing the Jin Air. I think it past the point where you can pull it back. So the good thing for DK, you know, when I start saying stuff like that, that it's not. The good angle for DK is that because they got that dragon, they can now chill for like the next 5 minutes. Which will not be enough to bridge this 8.4k gold lead.
There's a lot of gold on the map, okay?
Oh yeah,
DK get one pick
because they got one turret.
One pick
with double
objective bounties.
With double counter pick, by the way.
Yeah. No, T1 are in an unlosable position.
Okay, I wouldn't say that.
I'm gonna say that.
Oh, I don't know about that, Veldas.
I think with this comp and this game state, I think it's unlosable.
I wouldn't go that far. But if they do lose, it's not because of curses. It's because I think that there's always an angle. I just want to put that out there.
I am not as good at caster cursing as you are, so I wouldn't give myself that much credit. All right, Renekton ultimate stolen. He's going to look for the angle. They will fight eventually, I believe. Showmaker used it. He's not generating rage, so I don't know why. Okay, they're going to knock away the Braum, and they find the angle here on the front line, and it's actually Faker who goes down first, but Doran in the back line picking away onto everyone. He gets taken out as well. It's 5v3, and Shiu gets the resets. It was an unlosable Chronicler. There was an angle. They take 3 of them down. Showmaker trying to go in onto Owner. And will have it as the max range on the chains. And Carria's killing a turret in the base. He'll just execute to the fountain. The standing gold! The standing gold, the comeback for DK!
Wait, no, but like, because of death timers of Owner and Carria, DK's gonna get soul point. They can actually stall!
We have a game on our hands.
It's Barrel with the ult onto the Braum. No Braum means no frontline, means they're a member down. Guma immediately has to flash out.
And you said it, Chronicler, this comp, if you can pick one important target, the follow-up is their team.
And the most consistent damage on this comp is Faker. He doesn't get the flash. He doesn't get to use his ultimate. Look at these health bars. Tell me that if Victor doesn't, and even if he just ults. I'm not even asking for a laser. Yeah. I'm saying just press R.
Just an R button. Just a flash R.
Would have been enough.
Yeah.
Would have been enough.
It's
but
true.
Instead, DK find a miracle fight. Curses aren't real.
Standing gold?
No game is unlosable.
Standing gold?
Standing gold. And T1, I think you're still in a great position for this game. I would still pick them if I'd had to pick. 3 nibs are open. The map is in dire straits for DK, but we're getting a game, Vel.
DK didn't even get the drain.
I know. Well, they might.
They're definitely going to get it, but they didn't get it yet. So the tempo, you know, they need to spend some time to take this down. T1 might get some position around the Baron.
Oh, they are. Oh, the pings are going down.
I didn't know I had these powers, Chronicler. I didn't know I was this good at caster cursing. But I have set it up perfectly to get a game on our hands.
You're a great caster, Valdez.
I can see it.
This is all we needed. It's here. It's still a free kick gold lead, but now there's all of a sudden, but one lost fight for DK and the game is over.
I feel like the entire tone of the game as well is shifted. T1 now know that with that big mistake of a team fight, that it's losable. Whereas before, if they didn't make any mistakes, I kind of...
If they didn't make any mistakes, they wouldn't have thought it was losable.
I kind of still stand by my unlosable call.
But DK,
I mean, anything is losable, right? If you make a big enough mistake.
They created their own destiny. Was Barrel going for the play? Was Lucid ulting in? The rest of the team following up?
It just took them 35 minutes.
They were just waiting for the right angle. I guess what?
Eventually,
that is not enough because of the lead that T1 built. I think T1 again. Any one fight for them even if it's only 2 members, I think they can actually look to end, or you get 3 inhibs, which effectively ends the game. For DK, that's not the case. They got a good amount of standing gold, as Valdez was saying.
They know where Lucid is. And he walked over a ward. I mean, at this point, you gotta imagine that T1 still have vision control, so I'm kind of surprised that Lucid's going for somewhat of a gamble of a position.
It doesn't matter because he is Pantheon, so as long as they don't collapse onto him.
Yeah.
As mentioned, Showmaker gonna look for this in, or...
Just gonna start the Baron.
Yeah, they can...
but there is vision of this, so...
Doran sweeps it out, and Showmaker's TP is gonna get forced, whether he likes it or not. Shiu as well, looking for a base. I think Death Dance might be done. It's going down quickly, but T1, they get the TP. Is that enough?
Yeah, they're gonna get the 1 TP. Shiu still has his. He gets his Death's Dance.
Ooh. Good restraint from DK, not actually using both.
Yeah, she was still backing. I feel like maybe they wanted to take the fight after the Baron, but that's not the best angle. Still, it's a very close game. 2 Infernal Drakes for DK. Soul points.
Anyone getting caught at this point by a bowling ball, by a barrel slam, blown up in seconds. Good vision here as barrel.
He's going backwards at least, and he's just dead! Explodes into a flurry of Infernal Cinders, and now Lucid tries to follow up on it. It might just die for the sins of Barrel. And now, T1 5v3, looking for Showmaker, and it should be enough as down he goes. The shutdown comes through, and DK, they gave us hope. We had a game for about 3 minutes, and then it wasn't a game again.
Unlosable, Valdez! You said it yourself! And it starts with Barrel, and it ends with Barrel. Tries to look for a play, gets caught. The wave clear is decent. Ult is there for Shiu, but I don't think they can do this.
It doesn't look very likely as Shiu's getting bursted. He does get an insane amount of health back, but eventually it's just too much. The arrow, though, in the face. That's 2 kills! No! Barrel respawns! The game isn't over, guys! It's not over! It's still alive! They were asking for palm comments. Production thought it was over as well. The game is not over.
Barrel? Not again. Not again. Not like this. Wait, is it?
I mean,
Barrel?
I think he's baiting. It's
Yeah.
only Faker.
Yeah. Okay. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay, just do the Baron.
Well, yeah, they can. Guma and Doran are still dead. They have to.
20 seconds.
They have to try.
Doran doesn't have
and it
TP.
leads into Infernal Soul.
Well, you know, I thought I was a strong caster cursor, but you are on a different level, sir.
Caster curses aren't real.
I can't believe I even gave myself credit when I'm sitting next to the god himself of caster curses. The second you said it was unlosable,
how does this even happen?
it became losable.
So Shiu obviously gets a ton of cooldowns here. Stays alive for a lot longer than expected. Owner uses his stopwatch, and then Guma just tanks face first into aiming. Barrel shows up, and that's that.
I feel like the idea to collapse on the Ashe wasn't bad, but
they could have
after the fact.
It's the execution.
Yeah, like the idea itself is fine, but like the just flashing in, immediately getting arrowed and dying is obviously not the right play.
It's suboptimal, Valdez.
It did not work.
If they lose Infernal Soul, oh, the timing is off.
The timing is off. Aiming. He's feeling it. Palms are sweaty. Mom's
the regular
spaghetti.
season game.
All right, we're setting up for the Infernal.
Oh, we're not getting the. We're going for the fight. No one is trying to actually get this objective. It's all about the positioning.
All right, let's
Don't
see
know about Shiu.
who's got the hands, who's ready. The ult, it's gonna hit Faker away, and now the flank comes through for Shiu, but they don't commit to the fight.
Oh, that's the ult gone from Barrel. That's big. They're gonna try and burst it down. They're gonna try and flip. Doran is spotted.
I don't know if this is gonna work for DK. As now Barrel's going in, and the streak is not low enough. It's not low enough. They want to turn on the Doran now. It's getting real messy. It's getting incredibly messy. Doran's going to go down, but so does the Drake to the side of T1. Lucid stays alive, though. It's a 5v4, and Shiu, he wants to make this fight hit. Shiu does a lot, but he holds up the door, and now a massive flame from Owner onto nearly everybody. Isn't enough damage? It's the question. Faker on the right side on the Victor. He might recreate the Chovy moment.
Look at the base. base!
Oh, the base is in shambles as well. Guma and Faker against aiming.
Oh, they don't have TP. And oh, he still has Baron! He still has Baron!
Still has Baron. It's still alive.
Can they push? It's 30 seconds. It's so... I don't think they can.
No.
Make the right call, Ash. Oh my
Guma
god!
stopped his back, I don't know. Oh, this was chaotic.
As owner saving the game. Without him, this game would have been over. As Lucid is able to get over the wall, it means they don't get the dragon, but they do get the kill. And then the timing here is just off by a little bit. If Lucid is a little closer, then I think they just end it here. She was healing, but then watch this from owner, the turn back. Man, sleep.
I was losing my mind when he got that.
And that's what means that the game, not done. But aiming, crucially, is too scary. They don't want to risk it. And that means that the game is still afoot, Valdez.
It's still alive, as you very nicely put it. we thought we used enough bug spray. Showmaker, hey, congratulations. 2,000 kills. 4th mid to do it. He's up against #1 in both the mid category and in just the LCK category.
What a game to hit it in.
Yeah.
My god.
2 kills in that last fight, it looks like. As he was on 1999.
Shiu has skilled into this game, as we saw in that previous fight. Right now, any person makes a mistake, that's it. Anyone gets caught, anyone gets taken down. She ended the fight immediately. You see DK, though, they become deceptively tanky. I think it's a double death stance actually making a big difference. And my god, aiming.
This game is crazy.
Aiming his Ash game has been completely bonkers. Like,
It's
this is
so good.
not an easy game to go deathless in. And if he ever falls, the game is done immediately. Look at the vision control behind T1 here, or behind DK here, by the way. And the problem is DK, they don't have the luxury of having structures defending their base. So they need to be very careful about how they pick their fights. And guess what, Valdez, in 2 minutes, someone is getting an Infernal Soul. I don't know who.
They have to fight over that.
But you can't. Well,
I mean, T1 might be able to like end the game or something, depending on the wave states.
Soul for Nexus.
Yeah.
I don't think Barrel falls for that. If there's one guy in the game, I'm like, you can't do it.
You can't get it past the Law Master.
That's why he's the guru.
And Baron's gonna spawn
By
first.
the way, Barrel's level 6. This is a support puppy with 1 item. He's level 16.
Yeah. Well, he has a lot of control over the vision.
Well, they don't, though.
Well, he's trying his best.
He's trying his hardest.
He's spending as much money as he is physically capable of to contest the vision.
Don't lose. If I would have actually swore if we lost the game over. I don't care if he loses, but if anyone
game just
at this
ends
point
in a whimper
over Raptors, I would be very upset.
That would be a bit of a problem. I think the coaches would be very upset too.
That would make me curse.
Yeah.
Not in a caster way, just in a normal human being.
Yeah. The casters aren't normal human beings, so it makes sense. It checks out. Does he have death cap? Is what we're looking at here. Yes, he does. That's full build for Faker.
Full item up.
Yeah, Showmaker.
So now it's between aiming and Faker. Who can carry harder, and which team can enable their player to play better? Because Guma, yeah, he's also sitting at 6 items. His burst is great, but the sustained damage just doesn't compare. The arrow?
The arrow. And that's a big one. TP coming in. Oh, they got a Pantheon as well. And as Zonus comes in, can they get there in time to defend him is the question. And now aiming, he's getting slapped. And he's been taken out. Down goes aiming, the one guy who could get it done for DK. And they're trying to zone here for Shiu. He has incredible amounts of healing, but it's not enough against T1. They get the clean ace, and they will end game 3 in their favor.
마지막 점을 처치했습니다.
And after all of that, Doran finds aiming and cuts him down.
Chops down the aiming tree. And there it is. T1 will take the 2-1 victory over DK tonight. Only 2 of us predicted it. And T1